Welcome back, friends. We have reached the last technical session for the day. In this session, we are going to understand corporate social responsibility principles and practical issues. To enlighten us and to share knowledge with us, we have invited a young, energetic and enthusiastic CA. And expert also on the topic is CA Pavan Jayaprakash. May I request our member CA P. Mohan Raj to escort him onto dais and also welcome him with a floral bouquet. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me to welcome him. Thank you, CA Mohan Raj. Friends, it is my pleasure. To introduce CA Pavan Jayaprakash to this august gathering. Pavan is a member of our institute, a highly motivated individual with strong practical and theoretical knowledge on the topic. Pavan is a visiting faculty at BRICS Academy and also Jain University. He has conducted several seminars, workshops on various topics. His other activities and skills are sports enthusiast, actively participated and won several sports and cultural events in schools and colleges, serving as secretary for Rotary Club of TSMT, a wing of Rotary Bangalore Southwest. Active writer on various topics pertaining to taxation, finance and Indian history. Demonstrated efficiency in working along students, motivating and leading by example. One of the organizers of a professional development training session called Professor Time In, which helps aspiring CA students in equipping with knowledge on various topics of taxation, finance and accounts. More than that, a fascinating individual, CA Pavan Jayaprakash. With this brief introduction, I present CA Pavan before you. Please join me to welcome him once again.
In mind, I would like to begin my session today. Before that, I would like to thank the Bangalore SIRC branch for providing me this opportunity, and the chairman and the secretary for providing me this platform to share my views on corporate social responsibility, principles, practices and issues. Good evening everybody. So how was the session so far? Good? Yes. So I will not take much time of yours. Let's try to cope upon and understand what are the various issues which is persistent under the CSR. With the implementation of Companies Act 2013, CSR has become a buzzword, both in profit-making enterprises as well as non-profit making enterprises. The focus today is on social and economical development. The CSR does not find its way just as a mandate in the Companies Act 2013. It goes back a long way. In fact, CSR in India is a time-tested and an old principle. The Indian Vedic principles, which is the foundation of various cultural and religious practices, follows a principle which is called as Sarva Loka Hitam, which means for the benefit and welfare of everybody. So the economic standing of the country was such that any businesses which is carried on does not just carry for the purpose of profit, it profits for the welfare of everybody. Even some of our ancient teachings which said business is not just about accumulation of wealth, it's about ensuring that the wealth is distributed equally between both privileged as well as underprivileged. In fact, one of the India's greatest political and economical strategists, Chanakya, had once told that the duty of the king is not just the welfare of his own, it's about the welfare of his subjects. Keeping in mind, let's move on with a few aspects of CSR. What exactly is CSR? So we know there's a corporate, we know the full form is corporate social responsibility. Can anybody just tell me what exactly is the CSR? Why was it made as a mandate in the Companies Act? Was there a need of an hour to make it as a mandate? Because there are a lot of corporates, a lot of NGOs, a lot of philanthropists, a lot of entrepreneurs who are already dwelt upon this subject. Was there a need of an hour? Was CSR really relevant in a country like us? Yes, the need being welfare of the community. So was there a gap? Why was the welfare of the community required?
There was a gap. People will not contribute unless they make it compulsory.
Correct, right? So there was a need to balance between the corporate's commercial and economic values with that of the welfare of the society. That's it, right? So that was a need of an hour. But can I make every company accountable today? Can I make every company, every corporate, every entrepreneur who is driving his business to be mandated under the company's law for the CSR? No.
Unless simple.
Yes.
You know most.
So the company law 2013 mandated certain companies with the financial strength to contribute to the welfare of the society. The law provided its legal framework through section 135, which provides that every company with certain financial strength should provide for the benefit and welfare of the society. And this particular legal friction of 135 was supported by Corporate Social Responsibility Rules 2014, read with Schedule 7 of the same rules, which provided for certain activities which is to be considered as social responsibility activities. So what are those financial strength? How did the company law classify those financial strength? Let's look into this. So which says every company of certain financial strength which has a net worth more than 500 crores or a turnover more than 1000 crores or a net profit more than 5 crores is liable to ensure that they dedicate certain amount of their profits for the welfare activities. Around 2% of the average net profit for the 3 years is to be dedicated by these companies. One, when I talked about every company, what is this every company covers into? Every company includes private limited company, listed public companies, one-person company, as well as foreign companies which has a branch and which has been registered in this Companies Act. So these are the companies which has been covered currently. And how is the net worth and turnover or net profit calculated? Is it at any point of the year? The answer is no. It is not at any point of the year. The MC has already clarified that this is at the end of the year. So how does it work out? So 3 years of average profit, 2% of the average profit is calculated. So how does this work out? Then is a startup liable for CSR? A startup having a net profit of more than 5 crores is liable for CSR? Anybody? Anybody? The answer is, I would say yes and no. There is no clarification as such by the MCA which has been provided, but I would say the only thing which is stopping is the calculation, the technical calculation of the average profits, which is 3 years of the average profit. But if the company is able to sufficiently have a profit in the first year, it is liable for CSR. The law is silent on this, but even the startups is liable for the CSR activities. The next question. Say Pavan, I understand that yes, I have a network. I am Reliance Jio. Before even starting my business, I know my net worth is more than 500 crores. I know for sure my turnover is more than 1000 crores, but you know I'm invested a lot of money in advertising. So my net profit is less than 5 crores. So am I liable for CSR? Yes, the answer would be yes. The company which is also into loss making is also liable for CSR activities. The formula will again be the same. It will be net profits for the last 3 years. Say for example, in the 2015-16 company had a turnover of had a net profit of 20 crores. In 16-17 again they had a net profit of another 20 crores. In 17-18 unfortunately they had a loss of say 10 crores. The net profit is 20 plus 20 minus 10, which will again be 30 crores. On the 30 crores, an average is determined, that will be 10 crores. That amount will be quantified as a CSR funding activities. So that should be, yes.
Profit is average or from the period when it is qualified, suppose.
Okay, this net profit will be average of the 3 years profits.
5 crores is average.
Yes. Net profit will be calculated as average profits. One. Second, how it is calculated. Say for the year 2018-19, my balance sheet is prepared and determined that I fall under the CSR provisions. I will be liable for CSR activities for the year 19-20. Before my balance sheet is finalized for the next year, my board report should contain the activities which I have performed out of the CSR funding which has been created out of me. So that's how it works. Second, so the first question is, yes, we know these are the companies with the financial strength which is liable for CSR activities. So what next? How do I structure this? How do I start it? So is there any mandatory mechanism which is prescribed? Yes, it is being prescribed. Any company which fulfills the financial strength should form a CSR committee which has more than 3 or more directors, and one of whom should be a mandatory independent director. So what happens if a company doesn't have an independent director? We'll discuss about it. So any company which fulfills the financial strength, it is a responsibility of board to form a CSR committee in the first case. Currently there is no timelines or framework under which the board of directors should form a CSR committee, but the CSR committee should be formed once the company knows its level for CSR activities, and that activities needs to be reported in the next upcoming balance sheet. So it's the board responsibility to ensure that it constitutes a committee of CSR members. Second is, it's the responsibility of those members to formulate a CSR policy. That CSR policy will in turn be approved by the board of directors, and those CSR policies should be undertaken, monitored, and disclosure should be done by the CSR committee members. And it should also ensure that at least 2% of the average profit has been sent by the committee which has done the planning. And a disclosure in the board report is required to mention the various activities it has been followed and how the whole money has been sent for the various activities it has been taken by the company. Further, the law also provides that company can also upload the CSR activities in its website, and that need not be part of their board report. The board report can mention a clause telling that the CSR activities has been detailedly uploaded in the website of the company. So the next question, if I don't form this committee, if I don't carry out CSR activities, is there a penalty under the law? The answer is currently no. There is no penalty as such for not funding on CSR activities. The law has made it as a mandatory provision, but in a way has made it as a voluntary activity. Any company which does not spend its money on the CSR activities can put in their board report the reasons on why the CSR activities was not undertaken by the company. As of now, the penalty has been prescribed only on non-disclosure in the board report, but there is no penalty as such for non-spending. Currently, over the last 1 year, there are more than 9,000 companies. I am talking about the data which I got from the MCA portal for 2016-17, where more than 9,000 companies were liable for CSR provisions, but only around 3,000. There is only 6,000 companies which were able to fulfill those CSR provisions. There are around 3,000 companies which have not undertaken CSR activities, and a prosecution notice has been served to more than 366 companies. A penalty has been levied currently for not disclosing the reasons of why CSR activities was not undertaken by the company. This is fine. Next. So the company has a financial strength. So we understood what is the structure of the CSR committee does. So what is the obligation of board of directors? Today, the obligation of board of directors is immense, starting from the financial issues of the company to the internal control policies of the company. Board is responsible to ensure that company is carried out in the right spirit, in both in letter as well as in deeds. So it's a board of directors' responsibility to ensure that this CSR committee has been formed. The details of this committee has been mentioned in the board of directors report. It is also onus of the directors to ensure that The monetary terms which has been dedicated has been spent by the CSR committee, and a dedicated report has been served to all the members and the stakeholders. There is a penalty currently which is prescribed on the board of directors only for non-disclosure. The penal provisions being 50,000 per rupees, but it may apply to 25 lakhs, and the imprisonment of 3 years. This penal provisions is only on the disclosure requirements as of now, but it is not for non-spending of the CSR fundings.
What does this local area mean? Local area?
Okay, I'll come to that, but since it has been come up, I'll just finish off with this. One of the objectives of the CSR funding is the focus should be on the local area. So the area in which the company serves and does its businesses. Though the local area has not been defined, it would again mean the circle in which the business is carried on. The preference is on local area, but of course MC has again clarified certain things that the funding need not be just on local area. The company can always concentrate on other areas to serve the CSR activities. So next, what is the CSR committee? What is this form? So the CSR committee holds the stewardship in ensuring that the activities of the organization which has been planned has been implemented, monitored and succeeded. So CSR committee is responsible to formulate and recommend the CSR policies, recommend the expenditure which is to be incurred by the companies, and monitor the policies of the company from time to time. Probably I would tell CSR committee is just like our GST council. Well, the recommendation is done by the council and the implementation part is done by the company. In the same way, the recommendations and monitoring work is done by the committee and the implementation is done by board of directors of the company. So as I already mentioned, it is my many doubts. So the CSR committee should comprise of 3 directors, whom one of them should be a mandatory independent directors. So independent directors is only restricted to currently public limited companies and certain listed companies which falls under certain parameters in terms of shareholding and turnover. So if a company is not mandated to have an independent directors, they can have a CSR committee only with 2 particular directors. They can have with most of the private companies which does not have an independent director on board can have a CSR committee with only 2 directors. Then any companies which is a foreign company can have one person who is a representative of India, which is a mandatory provision, and another person can be nominated by the company. So in all the cases where an independent director is not prescribed, the company can have a CSR committee with only 2 directors. One. Second thing is, there is no statutory limitations on how many directors should be the maximum directors for the committee. The committee can have n number of directors, n number of members. Apart from directors, they can have a strategist, they can have anybody who is relevant in that particular field to form part of that particular committee. Now, what are the various activities which has been yes, sir.
In this you mentioned only 2 directors. Now, suppose if the company is having, let us say 5 directors, private company. Private company having 5 directors, but no independent director. In such case, whether 2 or 3
In that too, sir. In those cases too. Only when the company is mandated to have an independent director, then it should be 3. When a company is not mandated to have an independent director, in all those cases it will be 2. Yes. So in the presentation which has been given to you is for a reading purpose, not for an overall statutory purpose. So the company which does not have an independent directors can continue having 2 directors on their board.
Is there a limitation only? Higher limitation for 2 directors?
No, there is no higher limitations. The minimum limitation is 2. The company can n number of directors or members who will become part of the committee.
So if there are 5 directors in the company, they can have 4 or 5 directors for CSR committee also.
Yes, the entire 5 directors of the company can again become part of the CSR committee. Now, the Schedule 7 is one of the most important provisions under the Companies Act. Starting from education, healthcare, preservation of certain monuments, and welfare of women, society, elderly, most of the things has been covered under Schedule 7. Schedule 7 has more than 10 items which has been covered, that is one. And there may be multiple cases where certain activities may not find its place under Schedule 7 of Company Corporate Policies 2014. But the MCA has already clarified that Schedule 7 should be led liberally, and anything which is within the benefit of the social responsibilities and which is for a greater good can again be part of the Schedule 7. So as of now, there is no legal interpretation which has been made out of Schedule 7. If a company is doing certain activities in their local area which is benefiting their public, it is considered as an activity specified under Schedule 7. There may be a lot of activities when I tried to ponder around my thoughts to find whether I have certain activities which cannot form part of Schedule 7. I found certain cases, maybe digitalization of certain libraries or digitalization of certain records of government. Those cases can also become part of preservation of certain national heritage, libraries and all that. So wherever our thoughts wander to, if this is for a social cause, that is again considered as a Schedule 7 item. This Schedule 7 item is most of the cases in alignment with certain charitable activities which is already been prescribed under Income Tax Act as well as GST law. The same continues under the Companies Act too. But again, as I said, the Schedule 7, the entire thing is for interpretational purpose and it should be led liberally. Anything which is outside the ambit of this and this is for a social benefit again still finds place in Schedule 7. So Schedule 7 has been vaguely covered in this, but Schedule 7 has almost 10 items which prescribe various activities which has been served. On a broader aspects, some of the things which has been covered as I told you is healthcare, education, vocational training, skills, preservation of certain national heritage, culture, and development of rural and slum development areas. Is this fine? Any doubts on Schedule 7 activities?
Is it kind or cash?
This is kind of cash. Yeah, I'll come to that. See, one of the most important, I have certain things which I'll be presenting later, but since the topic came out, I'll just clarify to you. The law mandates that 2% should be spent in cash. The law mandates that 2% should actually be spent. But when we talk about kind, what are the cases where the kind will come?
Some donation we buy and give it.
So that also amounts to spend. So what again is, wherever there is a kind, that also means that there is a cost which is involved and this is done by the company. So the law mandates that it should be spent and should not be given in kind. Kind, I would say like this, probably in a company like Infosys, there are more than some 300 computers which is now outdated, but still can be utilized by schools. Those are the cases which has been given on kind. Probably that kind of funding may not be allowed. But if I am purchasing on my own account, say I want to promote electricity in rural areas, where I am purchasing LED bulbs and I am purchasing certain electrical equipment, and then I am putting this in rural areas, this again will be considered as a CSR spending.
If company is manufacturing, for example, LED bulbs, and then they are putting in the streets, that also can be considered cash.
This is still cash. This is an interesting point which has come up. The first thing is I am a manufacturer of LED bulbs. This is in my ordinary course of business. One. Second aspect is there is a cost involved in this manufacture. There is a cost which is involved in manufacture. Is again going for a certain CSR activities. This will still be considered as a CSR activity. What may not be considered is there may be certain peculiar cases. For to give an example, insurance company maybe. Insurance company conducts some medical camps. Then advises all the people who come there, telling them to take certain insurance policies. That medical camp may be for a business objective. That may not be considered as a CSR activity. But if a company is solely manufacturing certain goods and giving for as a part of CSR funding, that still be allowed. And in the second case, where insurance companies is giving certain insurance policies, probably as a CSR activity, that still will be allowed as a CSR activity.
Insurance to farmers.
Yes, insurance. Yes.
Free insurance to farmers. So how will be the cost of CSR evaluated in case of LED bulb company?
Sir, in those cases, cost accounting standard is already been prescribed. Yeah. So BOM is there and standard prescribes what is the cost of materials which is anyway consumed. Based on those principles, the costing needs to be done and disclosure needs to be done.
As a fair value market is there.
Yes.
Fair value is there.
Yes. So fair value is anyway there in the market. One. Second thing is, as I said, the law has been made as a mandate, but there is no stringent provisions or any interpretation still date. So it's always up to the businesses to decide what they want to do as of now. And the only penal provisions currently which is there is non-disclosure by the directors. Having said this, multiple companies have formed their own policies where certain synergies of their own business is utilized for the CSR activities.
And it can be spent through trust also.
It can be spent through trust. I'll come to that in the next slide. Yes, sir.
Well, the contribution to technology incubator in academic institutions. I read papers and that the government is thinking of knocking off that word in academic institutions because they feel that the contribution to technology incubators should happen even if it is not in the academic institutions. And the government has appointed a particular committee to look into CSR and have been giving them a mandate up to it, middle of June, to relook at these activities and see how it fits in with reality. That's what I've seen in the papers, and I have no plans in this line. And they said that in academic institutions is the clause which is creating a lot of people from not getting into this technology.
Sure, that should be. Because one is, there are a lot of multiple reasons for this. There are cases where a company is also claiming certain expenses under Income Tax Act, again showing it as a CSR activities. So there are a lot of debates which is going on to classify certain activities in Schedule 7. Yes, this is bound to happen.
Why not the definition of charitable trust could be incorporated in this, so that everything covers, again the same thing comes in there also. What is defined under the Income Tax Act, charitable activities, why not the same being incorporated here? Because both put, what are the activities mentioned here is also comes under the charitable activity as defined under section 250. Why there is unnecessarily bringing so many things?
I truly understand, sir. What the idea being is Schedule 7 has been prescribed currently to provide certain basis under which objectives is considered as a social objectives. There are multiple cases under income tax and GST which we are aware of currently, which may or may not find certain places as a charitable activities. So
These activities comes under the definition of charity even in
No, this is not really charitable. This session is the general purpose, not for charitable
No,
institutions
I
only.
am not saying that it's charitable. Definition what is defined in the Income Tax Act, charitable activity. Same to be incorporated here. Unnecessarily which comes within the body of that. Ultimately the purpose is to promote
The consistency in definition in GST in Companies Act and Income Tax Act.
that could have been done. Even I agree with you. That could have been done. But that is not the reality as on today.
Company to which CSR is applicable, if the company transfers that money to other company, Section 8 company, does it again like comes under this schedule?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll just cover in my next slide. So I have that as my next topic. I'll just touch upon that in this. So we'll move on with the next. This one, please. So next is, yes, we got to know what is qualified as a financial strength. How should the company structure the CSR committee? So what happens next? How do I undertake these activities? With my understanding of the law, I have classified it in the two aspects. One which is predominantly undertaken by the company on its own account, and another company is been where the funding has been allotted to some other company to carry out these activities. A company can form its own Section 8 companies or its own registered trust or a society to serve and go ahead with the carrying out the CSR activities. That is one. Second thing is the company can dedicate these funds and ensure that this fund are allocated to various third-party associations or trusts to carry out these particular activities. But there are again certain restrictions in this. Okay, what I will do is, Pavan, I will just give my money which is allocated CSR funding to certain charitable trust. Is that itself considered as a CSR activity? No, that is not considered a CSR activity. It's again the responsibility of the committee to ensure that whatever has been funded, what has been funded to the other company has been regularly monitored, implemented and spent by those companies. This is one of the key things which I have spent my time over the last 1 year. I have been part of a club which is called a Road Flag Club of the SMT. What we do is we help this smaller trust and school to be CSR ready. There are a lot of multinational companies which has CSR funding today, but they are not able to sufficiently and adequately give to the various trusts because probably trust doesn't have a bank account or it has a bank account but there is no income tax returns filed, or if they have an income tax return filed, there is no books of accounts to prove that yes, this trust existed over the last 3-4 years. So since this is one of the mandatory provisions which says that if the fund is dedicated to another trust or an organization, the other organization should have a minimum track record of 3 years to prove that they have carried out CSR activities. So this plays a pivotal role on our profession to ensure that whichever trust we are funding it to has a proper adequate track record for 3 years in line to get those fundings. And again, it's a responsibility of the CSR committee to ensure that whatever has been allocated to this particular trust or the societies has been executed by the trust and has been monitored regularly and properly. A lot of multinational companies today have formats in place, and most of the cases, some of the certification work would have been done by chartered accountants to prove that this trust have spent this particular money for this particular purposes. So this is broadly how the classification has been done. Is either a company can form its own Section 8 company, or through its own registered trust can fulfill CSR objectives, or this money can be given to another charitable trust which has these objectives in mind. Any doubts and clarification on this? Yes, sir.
Other charitable trust, what is their responsibility regarding this CSR? What type of record or what type of record?
Okay.
This is trust, not as per company.
Understood. So the trust does not have any onus today to fulfill those objectives. The onus is again on the CSR.
I have received the money.
Yes, so the onus is again on the CSR committee today. What happens is most of the companies which fund this trust have a bylaw in place that if the trust is not able to fulfill those activities, there is a penal provision and there is a take back of money from those companies. But per se, under the provisions of CSR, there is no responsibility of those trusts to spend those money. It is the responsibility of the committee to ensure that the money which has been given to those trusts has been adequately spent in the correct way.
What company has to collect? Suppose the trust has to invest or the trust has to undertake that project. That's it is under the name of trust only it is happening. Because the CSR fund has been received by the trust. Ultimately the trust is executing the project.
Trust is executing the project with the funding provided. It's a project of the trust itself. It's a project of the trust. The law says it's a project of the trust, but with the funding of the public.
It is nothing but donation from the company.
Correct. That's how it works. That's how predominantly any trust is working today.
So company what document they have to collect or what type of document they are expecting from the trust?
Utilization certificate.
There is, as I said, any CA today is certifying something which is called as utilization certificate.
That itself
Is sufficient. And this utilization certificate will form part of my board report at the time of preparing a financial statement. So apart from that, there is no onus on trust to whether spend this money or not. The onus is always on the CSR committee.
She may support some document. Along with this, you have to support some document.
Yes.
In fact, the company can release the money only as and when the money is spent by the trust.
Correct. May not be in few cases. Maybe there is a corpus donation made at an initial stage. So it depends on the trust to trust on how it is being carried out.
Corporate can commit, but they release the money only when
certain activities is done. But again, it depends on the way in which the whole framework has been structured. I have found in few cases where corpus donation has been done initially and is a monitoring done, or in few cases where based on certain milestones a funding has been done for those trusts.
There is a mandatory requirement to obtain that certificate to
No, there is no mandatory certificate which is prescribed, but there is a onus which has been placed on the CSR committee to ensure that whatever has been funded to those trusts has been correctly utilized, and the monitoring and the certification work is on the committee. So it's the committee's responsibility who will be held accountable if the trust is not utilizing those funds today.
Any financial strength of the trust is defined, sir, or any small trust also can.
Financial strength is not defined, sir, but what has been mentioned in the rules is this trust should carry out these operations for a minimum of 3 years and should be in the similar line of activities which is the objective of the CSR committee. Say CSR committee objectives may be to run a school or to help with education. The trust should also be in the similar field of education for imparting education for a period of 3 years. But apart from that, financial strength or viability or certain parameters has not been prescribed currently, and there is no monitoring mechanism today to find out what qualifies as a trust.
Most of the company insists for financial documents from the trust
Correct.
before granting anything to them.
Yes, sir. So this
Because
is
they want to ensure the money is not lost.
correct. So this is what I was just telling you about. The Rotary Club which I was part of, one of our work was to help this trust to be financially ready or CSR ready. How do we used to do that? We used to help them prepare balance sheets, we used to help them prepare the source of fund, utilization of fund, and to help them, these are the ideas under which they are working. So apart from that, there is no other mechanism which is prescribed. But a lot of multinational companies have their own principles to decide what kind of trust will require what kind of funding. Currently, it's only multinational companies which have certain parameters to define. But the law, as I said, it is a mandatory, but a voluntary made mandatory thing which does not have any parameters to decide those things today.
Suppose the company is directly one of the trustee of the trust.
That is fine. So it is the related party of.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's allowed, sir.
Yes, that is allowed. So related party, I mean the director is also a trustee there.
Yeah.
The related party transaction does not apply in CSR fundings. The director can be a trustee in the particular trust. That should be fine. So that has already been clarified by MCA in one of their circulars, which says that a director of the company can also be a trustee in other trust or societies. That should be fine.
Foundations are like this only.
Okay.
Most of the foundations are like this. Yes. So the next part is just an elaboration of my previous slide. As CSR activities can be collaborated between companies and different companies can collaborate and form as CSR activities. But any companies which is collaborating with each other should have a separate disclosure in their individual board reports. That's the only requirement which is there. But multiple companies can collaborate each other and form one single CSR activities. Second thing is the company can itself build certain CSR capabilities. Probably today director have a lot of ideas, but it doesn't know how to progress. So these capabilities are built by taking a lot of consultancy advisors and all that. But the law says this expenditure should be less than 5% of the overall CSR funding which is available to them. That is the only requirement which is there currently. We'll move on with the next, this one. So broadly have classified certain expenditure which is not considered as the expenditures of the CSR. The one is anything to do towards expenses which is an ordinary course of business. One of the example which I was giving was an insurance company which carrying out a medical camp activities for actually to promote his business in rural areas. Those kind of activities which is an ordinary course of business is not considered as a CSR expenses. Second thing is the focus is on incurring the expenses in India. So any activities which is undertaken outside India is not considered as CSR expenses. Activities undertaken outside local area of operations. So this was one of the restrictions which I have put here. But of course again MC have clarified that if there is certain activities which is outside the area of preferences and there is a reasonable the adequate reason on why this has been carried out for outside area, that is still allowed as an expenditure of CSR. Projects or activities that benefits employees of the company. So if any CSR is undertaken for benefits of its own employees, say for example a hospital which creates a school for only the benefit of the children who are working in the hospitals, those kind of expenditure is not considered as CSR expenditures. Activities
Exclusive for employees.
Exclusively for employees. If there are
100 are my employees. Children, 10 are outside.
Correct.
You can say exclude, no.
Correct. So suppose I have a company which I also have a school. That school provides education also for employees of the company and outside the company.
Yeah.
It is still allowed as an CSR expenditure. Activities a company is statutorily required to do. So there are certain cases where, say for example, the Godavari basin, where extraction of natural resources is being carried out today. So there are certain obligations on the company to ensure that the same eco-biology is restored by these companies. That is mandatory to be done by those companies. That is not considered as CSR activities. So these are the activities, is an application of income. Wherever the cases where it is statutorily required to do certain activities, it is not considered as CSR activities.
Effluent treatment.
Affluent treatment, yeah. So affluent treatment, waste water management is not considered as CSR activities. One of the events like blood donations, marathon, award sponsorship is not considered as a CSR activity. Contribution to any political parties, though it's a response. So Though politicians themselves considered as a responsible activity, this is not considered as an CSR activities. And activities which is not Schedule 7 activities. There are various cases on commercial aspect if you are carrying those activities is not covered, but as again said, the whole Schedule 7 is defined to include certain things. If still is serving a larger part of societies, it is considered as CSR activities. That is fine.
Local area, how to define the local?
So local area has not been defined under the rules which is prescribed, but local area predominantly will mean the area under which this particular company is serving.
Within the state or?
It has not been defined, but I would say within the specific local limits, probably municipal limits of these companies. I have tried to find out how this local area has been defined, but there is no definition of local area which comes under the rules which is there currently.
Helping Gaushalas.
It's coming. Recently they have amended 2 days back only. They are covering Goshala also in CSR. 2 days back only.
So the next is, as I said, there is a penal provision for non-compliance. Currently, there is no penal provisions for not spending of this money, but the penal provisions has been only been prescribed in cases when the company is not mentioning their board report on why certain CSR activities has not been carried out by the company. Recently, around 366 companies has been prosecuted for non-compliances of this provision. The non-compliances because there was no board disclosure which has been made in the reports. So that there is only penal provisions which has been prescribed currently. This is fine.
So, there is a general provision in the Companies Act for non-compliance is the provision of the Act.
Correct. So then,
Won't that apply to this?
it will definitely apply to that, sir. So it's the owners of the directors' duties to ensure that the company is carried out in a good faith and all the responsibility done by the company. So there is a blanket provision when there is a penalty for non-compliances, but currently all the cases which has come out there is no mention of those blanket provisions. It's only on the disclosure requirements, but of course any point of time that can be taken up.
So blanket provisions can always be invoked.
Yes, it can always be invoked. This is fine.
Sir, activities undertaken outside local area of operation. Is that defined? What is the meaning of that?
Yeah, see, the focus is on the area in which you are carrying out your business activities. That is one. Second thing is, again, there is a clarification by MCA where it says that if you are carrying certain activities outside your local area, it is still considered as the CSR activity. So, per se, there is no mention of local area as I was mentioned, but there has been prescribed in the rules which has come out in the earlier. Any other questions?
This company is having a solar project in their own building. Is it CSR project?
No. Not necessary, no, sir. They should actually be spent for the welfare of other communities. These kind of activities is for my own benefit.
Conservation of energy or that it comes under that only.
Need not be considered as a CSR activity, sir. The company should actually spend on outside activities as such. Today, most of the companies have some part of activities for energy saving activities and other measures. This is a measure where company actually spends 2% for an outside benefit of society. Here, there is no benefit which is real for the society as such. So this may not be considered as a
But
CSR
sir, after
activity.
captive consumption, what is going to outside? Can that be considered as CSR? Because a company has consumed whatever their requirement. After that, balance is going to the general unit.
So a solar plant where they are giving probably free of solar.
Captive
In the
consumption
shed is there.
Maybe a view can be taken that this is considered as CSR activities, but even I have to look into this. So a view can always be taken in these cases where this will be considered as a CSR activity.
Because whatever excess is there,
When you put power grid, go the grid.
So a view can always be taken in those cases that this will be considered as a CSR activity.
Even if the deal is taken, this abrupt use of take the loan issue by CSR activity, most of the guys say like that.
Correct. So the next question is how do I cost it? How do I value this? Is the next question which comes into play.
Some activity I have done. In general parlance, it may not be a CSR activity. But forcibly, we with a gang of people we tell, no, it is a CSR activity, I will like this. What will nothing will happen to the project.
The next question is, have you spent this money today?
I spent for my
We have
school. I have spent in my school.
So today the spending is being done for certain capital, but instead there is a capital investment which is made. Apart from that, to force or to show somebody that this activity has been done, we don't have any documents to prove it, right?
No. Actually, it is not CSR. But still, I forcibly I saw it is CSR. So what is the recourse for?
As of now, there is no recourse. Once it is up to me, it's up to me to prove yes, this particular activity is for a CSR activity or not.
That means these rules, whatever is there, applicability is very meager.
Correct. So in fact, some of the circulars, if you see, most of the cases, if I clarified this, it should be interpreted liberally. They should not be taken as concise of certain things and all that.
Sir, for considering that turnover in the net worth criteria, should I look at the group financials or the individual standalone financials?
Individual standalone financials of that particular entity. So I will not, probably a company like Reliance have 10-20 companies under its forte. And individual balance sheet needs to be considered for this particular case. So, suppose if a holding company falls under the CSR provisions, that does not mean the subsidiary companies will also fall under the CSR provisions. Each and every company should be looked into independently.
Let's say a foreign company having a branch in India. So the branch does not have any separate legal existence, like it's formed parts of the foreign company. So in that case, should I look at the consolidated financials of the branch in this, or what is the branch?
The foreign branches are also liable to prepare an Indian balance sheet and file with the MCA. That particular balance sheet is utilized to calculate the turnovers and profit limits.
Let's say the Indian company has a foreign branches outside India, and they want to spend CSR at the operations that in the foreign jurisdictions. Will that be allowed?
No, that is not allowed. So this is specifically for ensuring that it is being spent locally in India. So any foreign funding is not considered as CSR activity currently. Touching upon the last bit of this particular topic, so there are certain key questions which some cases remain unanswered and some cases which has been answered during the course of this one. So one is it mandatory to have a CSR committee? We have discussed this, it is mandatory to have a CSR committee. Next one, is there a time limit for forming CSR committee? Currently there is no time limit to form any CSR committee as such. How often should the committee meet? Again, the law does not provide these answers. It's the secretarial practices which is there. But the rules cover that CSR committee should meet at least once to decide the amount of expenditure it is going to spend. What is the quorum of CSR committee? Again, the law is silent on the quorum of the CSR committee. The bylaws can decide what can be the quorum of this particular committee. What is the relevant date of CSR applicability? I have already told you, any standalone balance sheet, say for example 18-19 financials, I got to know that I have a financial strength to ensure that the CSR is applicable. This company should carry out CSR activity in the next upcoming year and disclose in the board report. Does company need to invest in CSR activity even when it is making loss? Yes, the answer was yes. This has already been discussed. Is handing over the CSR amount to implementation partner sufficient for compliance? No, this has already been discussed by us. In a state where registration of trust is not required, what would be the term registered trust implied? This has already been clarified by the MCA, where in certain states where there is no provisions of registration of trust or registration of society, the registration of trust under income tax itself will be considered as a registration of trust. Is there guidelines on acceptable reason for failure to compare CSR? There is no guidelines as on today. If the company is able to present in this board report the genuinity of why it has not fulfilled, that is considered as in compliances. Can CSR expenditures be made on activities not mentioned in Schedule 7? Yes. As this is already clarified now, it cannot be a part of Schedule 7, but if it is serving as a larger part of the rules, it can be considered as CSR activities. That is fine.
So coming to the third question, is handing over the CSR amount to implementing partner sufficient for compliance? Because what happens, suppose in the March, you just give it to a charitable trust, a particular amount. It's not necessary that the implementation should have happened in that year. As long as the trust credited to a specific fund purpose allocated for CSR, it is sufficient compliance under section 135. Because it is not necessary that if the project implementation could take more than 6 months, 1 year. So handing over to a registered trust or a Section 8 company, and as long as the trust or the company gives you a utilization letter confirming that this money has been received and under this allocated for CSR fund, which will be used for that specific purpose, would be sufficient compliance.
Correct, I understand that. That's what exactly how it works. Say for example a school, probably it takes 2-3 years to build a building for those schools, or probably a hospital, it takes a long period of time to build a hospital, to bring those equipment in places.
Even running of the school itself.
So running of the school itself. So in those cases, a sufficient compliances and a disclosure on why this funding is not utilized itself will serve the purpose in those cases. So the law mandates you to spend 2%. If it is not spent, a genuine reason.
As long as the money has gone out of the company to a trust, the spend has already occurred because 135 compliance is there. The onus on the entity to utilize it for the purpose and give you a UC.
Correct.
As far as the corporate is concerned, see, suppose I donate it to a Prime Minister's Relief Fund, that is sufficient compliance.
Correct.
Similarly, once I give it to a particular specified trust with a mandate that this is to be spent on this purpose, and that entity gives an acknowledgement that it has received that money and credited to that corpus fund to be utilized for the specific, say, education or whatever, one of the activities under Section 135 Schedule 7, it is sufficient compliance for the corporate. You may monitor it. That's it, but as far as the company law is concerned, under Section 135, its compliance is already achieved.
Correct. See, one is the utilization certificate itself will tell you this is the fund has been which is given to the company, and currently this is the progress which has been made out of the fundings which has been provided. That itself can be viewed as a sufficient compliance under the provisions of the law.
The amount not spent gets carried forward.
There is no carry forward and set of provisions under the CSR, but again it's a disclosure requirement. Say probably this year I have spent more than 2%, probably I spent 5% for my CSR activity, overall average profits. So can I set off this against my the next year's CSR activities? The answer is no. Sorry sir? Otherwise also not allowed.
I know, I spent only 1%. Next year I want to spend the other percent.
Next year if it is not, one is again the law is silent on this. Second is up to the board to decide on why this 1% spent, and the 1% can be spent in the next upcoming year. So the law does not provide per se a straight answer on this particular question.
Sir, one more thing, when it gives an implementing partner, is the implementing partner required to give an invoice? That is it supply of service?
Not necessarily, it may not be a supply of service. See, again we just had a GST discussion. It goes back. So there are cases where there is a pure donation involved. There is no service element which is involved at all. So problem will be
this is not a donation. This is not eligible for 8IG because it's post-tax spend. So when I'm giving it to an entity, is that entity required to give me an invoice? Is it because I'm using implementing partner? Is going to do my CSR activity on my behalf? Am I supposed to collect an invoice from him?
No sir, no, not required.
Only UC is good enough.
Only UC is good enough. So if I'm giving an invoice, there might be any different transaction which we look into. Currently the UC certificate along with the breakup of the invoices and how he is spending those expenses is considered as a sufficient compliances. So on the last aspect which I want to touch upon is the income tax aspect. Though certain income tax and GST session was already carried out. On a broader aspect, the CSR expenditure is considered as an utilization of money. It's an application of income. Any expenses which is done out of CSR activities is not considered as business expenses. Accordingly, there are a lot of debates which is going on whether certain activities where I can claim certain deductions under various provisions of Income Tax Act. The answer is no. Currently, there is no expenses or deduction allowed under Income Tax Act apart from one donation which is made to Prime Minister Relief Fund, which has a specific provisions under the CSR, which is allowed as a CSR activity. Apart from that, there is no other sections under income tax law which provides both and considers both it as an expenses as well as a CSR activities. Sorry sir. Prime Minister Relief Fund is eligible for both ATG as well as CSR activities. But apart from that, there is no other provisions which gives benefit to both these activities.
So ATG cannot be.
No, the ATG can be claimed only for Prime Minister Relief Fund. But apart from that, no other income tax sections where you can claim both as business expenses as well as expenses in the CSR is not allowed.
No, CSR expenditure not expenditure.
Not allowed.
ATG is
not allowed.
Sorry sir, I just missed that.
CSR explanation not allowed for internal.
Correct. Then in those cases I can claim at an ATG or probably I'm giving some expenses to scientific research. That is as usual allowed under the income tax provision. That may not shown as the CSR expenses.
Amount spent on orphanage and old age homes. Not there.
This comes under Schedule 7 itself. Maybe whatever I put into this presentation may not be there, but orphanage home and old age home has been covered under Schedule 7. I put it as a broader aspect in my presentation but Schedule 7 covers both orphanage and old age homes. With this, I would like to end my session, sir. Any concerns on
One question. Some foreign company want to do some equity in India through a trust. Is it a CSR for that company? It's outside from India. Do they need to give commercial to them? Tax invest trust. Suppose trust is money from foreign company. What they will give? A certificate or export services? Sir.
Okay, sir. I have done certain work for certain foreign entities currently. In my experiences, there is no invoices which I have provided to them. Most of the cases, it's all utilization certificate which they have prescribed from me with certain supporting documents. Yes, that has been considered as that is not considered CSR activity. That is considered as a charitable activity. Yes, sir.
Instead of doing all charitable activities or CSR activities, contribution to Prime Minister Relief Fund is enough.
This is what the motivation with everybody is, but that's not how societies and company works. Every company is considering this CSR activities today as a brand building activities. In my own experience, I'll tell you, where I was part of one of the company which went for CSR funding. I'll tell you the conversation which went in Kannada. Everybody understands Kannada here? Oh, that should be fine. So they said, ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ನಾನು ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಕೊಡೋದು ತೋರಿಸ್ಬೋದು ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ನೀನು ಸಣ್ಣ ಪುಟ್ಟ ರೋಡ್ ಹಾಕ್ತೀನಿ ಅಥವಾ ಏನೋ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು CSR ಅನ್ನು ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. This is how the conversation goes. Everybody want this as a brand building activity than actually a national building activity. So I agree that contribution to national relief fund will be a much easier compliances, but that's not how companies is looking into currently.
Say a company giving the funds to the other trust for implementing the CSR objective, and the trust, let's say, charge 10% or with the 10% quantum would be included, would form part of your 2% criteria.
So talking about trust charging certain amount as its services.
For their administrative costs.
Okay. Administrative cost. Again, those administrative costs is not considered currently as a non-disclosure items. This again forms part of the CSR activities. That's how predominantly any trust works today. I need to have certain administrative expenditure to carry out my activities. So, in fact, to add upon your point, where I had seen a document which was provided to that particular trust, which in fact even mentioned that this is the cap for administrative expenses. You can have 2 administrative accountants to look after your transactions, somebody to implement this particular transactions. So that is how the funding is usually done by the companies. Sir, the 5% is for building the capabilities. Suppose if I haven't consulted, there are a lot of CSR implementation companies which help you to sort out how a CSR should be implemented. They help you to structure your format, structure your teams, guide them on how to do it. That there is a 5% cap, not on the funding which is done to charitable trust as such. That's it. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Friends, Sarva Loka Hitam or Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavanti is the purpose of CSR, and we from Speaker's note, happy to know that in Companies Act there is no penalty for non-spending. There is a penalty for non-disclosure in director's report about CSR non-spending. There is no provision for carry forward of excess spending during the year on CSR fund. And minimum 2 directors, there is no limit of maximum directors to be in the committee of CSR. And you can donate to Prime Minister Relief Fund and claim ATG. That's what you said. Huh?
Yes.
So it's a piece of information for me. I never imagined that CSR fund also can be claimed under section ATG. I think that is true. I think it's a good input I received personally. I hope you also, all of you agree that. With that, I think we had a very good interactive session, and he clarified all of your queries. For his precious time and valuable knowledge shared with us, please thank him with a round of applause. As a token of appreciation and gratitude, may I request our SARC member Geeta Madam to come forward and present a memento to the speaker. Please once again thank you for a round of applause. Thank you, Geeta. Friends, this is a one-day seminar on charitable institutions, audit and taxation issues, including CSR issues. I think we had a good day sessions, and we all enriched from these sessions. So let us conclude for the day. So as I already mentioned, 19th and 20th Union Budget Analysis registration is open, both online and offline. Please make use of that seminar. With that, let us conclude. Once again, thank you each one of you for active participation and learning this session. Thank you very much.